My brother Michael was just charged with sexual assault. I know it's not true, but now he's facing a long time in prison if I don't prove this vile sister-in-law is behind this. Here's what I know. When my mom called me to tell me that Michael's been arrested on a charge of sexual assault, I found it hard to believe. Michael has always been respectful of other people and has never displayed violent behavior. Upon getting more information, my mom revealed that he was being accused of violating my sister-in-law, Ashley. That was crazy because those two hate each other, and the last time they saw each other, they had a very big argument. Michael is my brother and Ashley is my wife's sister. She's 30 years old and Michael's 25, while I'm 31. And my wife is the same age. She was not close to her sister because of their differences in political views, but they did not hate each other until recently. The accusation was very suspicious to me, but when I told my wife, she said that we had to get full information before we decided who to support. As much as I disliked Ashley, I knew Sandra, my wife, was right. We had to find out more information, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. I've never liked my wife's sister. It is difficult to believe that she's even related to Sandra. She's a very loud person and has absolutely no filters. She does not care who she offends, be it a stranger or a family member. She cares only for materialistic things and would never help anyone who does not look like her. When it's family events, it's usually a bad idea to invite her. She has an opinion on anything and everything, and if anyone even slightly disagrees with her, she gets offended. With such a personality, she somehow became a teacher. She's so proud of her master's in education and does not hesitate to throw it in anyone's face. The way she brags about how many times she has won Teacher of the Year nearly every time I run into her is sickening. I have no idea how any child can be taught by her, but that's none of my business. My brother Michael was also shy and had self-esteem issues growing up. But as he got older, he got more confident, and he got interested in volunteering for organizations that help the less fortunate. He's never gotten along with Ashley because she makes fun of the work he does. Oh, and she's also racist. Michael's boyfriend is a man of color, so he avoids her as much as possible. Very few of us knew about Michael's sexuality until recently. He was not yet ready to come out, so it was just me, my wife, and our mom who knew that he was gay. Ashley did not know Michael was gay, but if she did, I know she would have something offensive to say. I knew that he would come out at any time that he felt comfortable, and everyone would support him because he's such a good guy. On the last Thanksgiving that we had, the whole family, including my wife's family, had dinner at my parents' house. It was going well, and Ashley had not passed one mean comment the whole evening. But then, in the middle of dinner, she started telling her mother, who was next to her, that she nearly got mugged. I was half paying attention to the conversation, but was shocked when she said that she would be comfortable if they followed any black people who entered stores. She also said that the country was becoming a free-for-all, with the way that we're allowing African American people in here. I was baffled and asked her what she meant by that. And she said that if a black couple had just followed her into a store and they were speaking in their language, and she felt that they were planning to mug her. Michael asked if they talked to her or touched her in any way. She said no, the man was just wearing a hoodie and was looking thuggish. My wife asked her to not just make assumptions because people of their appearance. Ashley got defensive and said that she's not a racist, she has black friends. Yes, the oldest line in the book. Michael said that she stereotyped that man because of his race, and it was because of people like her that innocent people were accused of crimes. He did not see how a person speaking their native tongue was threatening at all. She told him he was being ridiculous. In fact, her principal is black, and she was not thuggish at all. So, we watched them go back and forth over the issue. To be honest, this was not the first time where she acted racist. There were many times when she made comments that did not sit right with everyone. She did not respect other people's culture and was constantly calling Muslims terrorists and making fun of how Asian people spoke. If anyone said anything about it, she laughed and stated, "Ugh, gosh, you're such a snowflake. I was just joking." But to be honest, it got very annoying. Anyways, the argument between her and Michael escalated to him calling her out and Ashley defending herself. Tensions were rising, and we tried to get the situation to calm down. Then, in the middle of it, Michael stood up and said that he was done wasting his time talking to someone who was so ignorant with barely half a brain. She tried to get violent, but someone held her back. We tried to make her see that they did not need to fight like that, but she accused us of being sexist and trying to shut down her opinion because she's a woman. I told her that it was Thanksgiving, and it would be nice if we all just got along. I did not agree with her views, but there was enough drama at the table. I resolved to ask my wife to not invite her again to our other events. We had enough complaints from friends that she said some disrespectful stuff, and I was getting tired of apologizing for her. My wife agreed with me, but Ashley said that we're ganging up on her because she's single, and well, we're married. She has a very bad habit of finding any excuse to act like she's being violated, when she's clearly the one in the wrong. Before I could say anything else, she left, and so did the parents. She refused to speak to any of our family members unless Michael apologized for the way he treated her. Michael was not backing down and was glad to be rid of her. I figured they were two grown adults and they would be able to sort out their problems. So my wife and I decided to stay out of the whole matter, which is what until I got the call that she's gone to get him arrested for raping her. I found this hard to believe because my brother does not have the tiniest attraction to women, or has never engaged in violent behavior towards them. The family group chat blew up with the news of his arrest, and some of the family members really believed her. I'm all for believing the victim, but there is also the popularity of women faking cases to get revenge. It makes it hard to know who's telling the truth and who's just trying to ruin a man's life. But because of her charge, my brother was now in jail. And if he was found guilty, he was going to go to jail for most of his life, and his life was going to be ruined. My mom, my dad, and I stood by my brother. Sandra was on the fence. Before you come for her, she deals with facts, not emotional stuff. Her family was mixed over the whole thing, and they wanted justice for Ashley. The first thing I did was go to see my brother. I just needed to look in his eyes to know if he was telling the truth. He was an honest guy and only lied to avoid hurting someone's feelings. I looked my brother in his eyes, asked him if he really hurt her, and he told me that he disliked her a lot, but he would not wish such a terrible thing on her. And he's gay, so the last thing he would want to do was to be near her in such a way. That the poor guy looked haggard and like he was just not getting much sleep. Already the news had spread, and we were getting hateful messages for supporting a, quote, rapist. But none of them knew Michael as we did. I saw the pictures of the bruises that she had, but I think she doctored them or used makeup. My brother was never hurting a fly. After talking to him, my wife even admitted that she could not imagine him doing such a terrible thing, especially with his sexuality. His boyfriend was very upset and offered his support so that we could take Ashley down. But Michael asked him to stay away from the case because he's not ready to come out yet. His boyfriend agreed but offered his moral support. He was in jail for a while, but did not receive bail when he requested it. I was a bit relieved because we've been receiving a death threat from some people. At least in jail, he was safer there. But still, I pulled out every resource I could to get evidence so that my brother would not spend his life paying for a crime he did not commit. I know my brother, and he would never be able to deal with how dangerous prison is. The case finally went to trial, and it was not looking good. There were witnesses at the Thanksgiving dinner, and they admitted that she did not get along with Michael. They never had. She said that it happened several nights after her argument with him, and that she never felt safe with him. She cried crocodile tears while the witnesses were being questioned. It got me so angry. I knew that he thought he could win without exposing his sexuality, but now it felt like it was the only thing that could help him. When it was his turn to testify, he confessed that on that night he was out of town with his boyfriend. I saw that it was difficult for him to come out like that, and I wished that he could have done so at a time that did not depend on his life. I confirmed it. He had come out to me when he was 18, and when I got married, he told my wife. My mom as well, and testified that he was gay. His boyfriend, Leroy, was also allowed to testify in court. Ashley fumbled her statement many times. Suddenly, she was not sure about the time that the assault had occurred. She did not go to any hospital when the attack occurred, but had the sense to go to the police. Even the test they did on her after she pressed charges did not prove that my brother touched her. While she was busy changing her statements many times, and saying that maybe it was someone who looked like him, the judge ordered that both their phones and GPS be checked. Michael had pictures of him and his boyfriend from the day that the attack happened, which gave him an alibi. One by one, people stopped believing her and started questioning her. My wife already believed Michael and did a good job of convincing her family and friends. Most people did not even have one bad thing to say about Michael. They started saying that she was a liar, seeing that there was no way that she was going to win the case because of her lack of evidence, and the fact that Michael was gay. She started to change her statement. She said that she wanted to withdraw the case because she thought it was a man who looked like Michael who attacked her. But she had already dug her own grave because once they got footage of her buying a bruise kit, it was clear that she had faked the whole thing, and her bruises had also healed up pretty darn quick, which was very suspicious. My brother was left off, and the charges on him were dismissed. I was happy that my brother's name had been cleared. Most of the family members were on his side now, and they were shaming her. No one wanted anything to do with her, and everyone spoke up about the times when she mistreated them. She was removed from all family group chats, and her own mother wanted nothing to do with her. The few friends that she did have did not stick to her. The NGO she had gotten to support her and trying to get my brother arrested distanced themselves from her. She did not get off with a slap on the wrist either. My brother aided the law by laying a charge against her. Her school distanced itself from her, and she was suspended until further notice, while the case was going on. It did not take a long time for him to win the case. Not only did she have to settle both the legal fees from both cases, but she also had to pay my brother a settlement fee for false imprisonment. She was so furious when she heard that, and said that she should have been let go because it was just a mistake. The judge said that her mistake was a waste of state resources and everyone's time, and it took away months from Michael's life that he'll never get back. She tried to get out of paying the fee, but that would mean that she would get 3 years in prison. Obviously, she did not have any of the money. No bank would give her a loan for that amount, and she did not have a job anymore. So she put her house on the market. So now she has no house, and she had to pay everything she got to my brother, and the rest to a fine for the court. The situation did not only hit her hard in the pocket, there's more. She got 6 months in jail and is also on probation. If she commits another crime while in prison, she might get the sentence extended. I know I said that my brother would not survive in prison, but I would kill to see just such an entitled person like her, who thinks that she's God's gift to mankind, will be able to survive in there. On top of that, she's been totally stripped of her degree. She's not allowed to teach in any institution, private nor public, for the rest of her life. She might be a lot of things, but one thing she is proud of is her degree in education. Not that teachers aren't important, I appreciate all they do for us. She's done a lot to advance her career, and she even wanted to apply to be a principal, which is why this is such a loss for her. I saw her when she was being sent to serve her sentence, and she looked devastated. My wife says that some family members went to see her, and she was spitting fire because she's been stripped of her right to teach for her life. Karma does a marvelous thing, don't you think? She's going to come out in a couple months, but she will pay for her mistake for the rest of her life. I'm glad to see that finally, and people who use the law for their own selfish deeds are being taken care of. As for my brother, he was able to get his job back after the case was concluded. He got apologies from family members who doubted him, and because he's such a sweet person, he didn't even hold a grudge. With part of the money, he did donate to an organization that helps victims of assault, both men and women. As for his sexuality, most of my family accepted him, and anyone else who had any homophobic things to say had to go through me. I cannot stress this enough. I think before you lie in order to get revenge for something, it will always come back to bite you. This is just one of those stories where you cannot believe what's happening. I was thinking the whole time, what a vile human being. There's no way she's really lying about this. Well, it turns out in court she couldn't get her facts together, and was in fact caught in her own lie. What a vile human being, and I'm so glad karma decided to strike her. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. There's still one more story left in today's video. Am I the a-hole for not talking to my cousin and not going to her wedding over a prank and potentially ruining her relationship? Guys, this next story is very intense. It involves a practical prank gone really bad. Here it comes. My cousin Millie is 30, female, and an ER nurse. Her birthday was a few days ago, and we planned a birthday prank, which was leaving a fake snake on her cake. All fun and games because we do this every year to every family member. Well, apparently, this year Millie did not want it, so she was pretty pissed at the fact that we did it. Now, a few days ago while I was in school, I got a call from Millie during lunch. I thought it would be her saying she's picking me up. Well, no it wasn't. Millie proceeded to tell me that my mother had passed away in a car accident. My heart dropped and I felt like puking. My mother and I don't have the best relationship, but I still love her. Millie began to tell me the details of the death and what exactly happened to the point I hung up on her and called my mother. My mom, who was supposedly at work as a nurse, did not pick up, and I ended up running to the bathroom. I called my dad, bawling my eyes out and telling him what happened. He did not understand what I was talking about because he just talked to Mom right before I called. He made me explain everything, and understandably, he was pissed. He picked me up from school and called my mom in the car, just to prove that she was okay, alive, and fine. That night, my aunt, not Millie's mom, called a meeting at her house and we'd all talked it out. They all were pretty much disgusted with Millie as she tried to justify her choices. But she did end up apologizing. But I got up and stated that I don't want to talk to her ever again. Now Millie's engaged. Her wedding is coming up soon and I was supposed to be a flower girl. I'm 15, but they wanted me to be a part of it. So now I've pulled out of the wedding, which is what Millie is worried about. She doesn't want people to question where I am and started to yell at me for being petty. My dad took me home and I blocked Millie on everything. Her fiance, who by the way I'm close to because he and Millie took care of me when I was younger, ended up messaging me and asking me to come. I told him no, and what his fiance did was disgusting. He said while what Millie did was wrong, it was just a prank. I blew up at him. She told me my mother was dead, ducking dead. I ended up yelling, and he sounded genuinely confused and asked me what the hell I was talking about. I told him what happened, and turns out Millie and her mother lied to him and said that Millie just sent a gory pic to me while I was at school. Next thing I knew is that he left to stay with his mother and apologized to me. I apologized to him because I did call him a jerk while I was yelling. Now I'm getting blamed for, quote, ruining Millie's relationship. I'm still not talking to her or her mother, but guys, am I the a-hole? A snake in a cake? You take a fake cake and you put it in a snake. That's one of the best pranks I've ever heard. I think it needs to be on Shark Tank. But let's get serious about the story. This was such a harmless prank, and this grown adult decided to do something horrific and gruesome and gross and toxic and say that OP's mother's dead, and completely vile human being, not the a-hole for the OP at all. Guys, that's all the stories I have for you today. Drop your thoughts down below and let me know what you think about a snake in a cake. I hope you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are in this world. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And remember, tell me what you think about snake in a cake.